All right, so we are here with Stirley Jones. We're going to be talking about his overall athletic career, how it's going, and then get into a little bit of his coaching career so far with how that's been going. So, Stirley, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, man. Thanks for having me here. It's always a pleasure to speaking with you, especially as a well-known coach like yourself. Like I said, thank you for having me here for this interview.
Well, appreciate that. So let's hop right into it. So talk about how you were introduced to track and field, and basically just kind of go over your track and field story.
So I started late in my career for track and field. I would say around my sophomore year in high school. I've never was a really big track and field athlete. I was football, basketball was first, and then track came. And so I went to college, and it was kind of interesting because I took a year off from high school. It's kind of funny. I graduated 2003, and then I took a year off, and then I came to Golden West. Because I'm originally from Florida, so I came to Golden West, and I would say the fall of 2004, and I didn't want to do track in college because my senior in high school, I essentially like blew my hamstring, and I was kind of a little, I guess I would say a little traumatized, a little distraught about that. But I happened to go out, and my friend challenged me to race this guy, and that's how it all got started. So I went to Golden West, competed there for 2 years. I thought I did pretty good. I thought I could have done a little bit better, but I had the mentality from high school of doing football and basketball. So that's what I did in Golden West. And so honestly, I didn't really take track serious until I would say after my second car accident, which was 2013. And so I
Mm.
would say almost, I would say 10 years later. And I kind of felt a little disappointed because track and field is a very rich sport. And I feel like if I would have had, if I would have took a little bit serious, had a better mentorship, I think I feel like I would have accomplished a whole lot as far as on the athletic side. I ran a 10.3, 20.4, ran a 46, 47, 400. But I did that extremely late in my career. And I feel like I did it, reason why I did it late in my career, because I never really tapped into any of the potential that I did early in my career. And so, like I said, that's kind of more side of my athletic career. I accomplished a lot. And, I really feel thankful that I did when I was able to catch the somewhat of leftover talent that I did have. And
Mm.
yeah.
So looking back, do you feel like you kind of missed out? Like, could you have benefited from having someone to sit you down and say, okay, what's the plan? You know?
I think so because maybe I could have went to a instead of going to a junior college, which I do not think junior college is a bad route to go. So if anyone thinks that junior college is downgrading, it's not. Junior college is definitely for individuals like myself that was kind of a little, I would say, think get the right guidance. And so I feel like if I would have got that right guidance, maybe my eighth grade going into my freshman year of high school, maybe my 10th grade before I hit senior, maybe I would have, I think possibly I would have took a different route.
Mm. And so how with that 10-3, that's a very fast time, 20 points, very fast time. Where did you run those? Were you competing obviously as an open athlete? What was that experience like?
I was competing as an open athlete. I, eventually qualified for the Olympic trials, which that was kind of like a little, I guess, a little surprising to me because I never really had those expectations of I can actually run at that level. It was more so me just competing, just having, just kind of just staying in shape and running that fast. I thought it was pretty cool, and so you don't really feel like you're running fast until you look at that, look at the time, look at the scoreboard, and everything that pops up.
I mean, going from athletes that have this mentality of, I have to start track early to be successful. How are you able to start essentially later, but still have these top times? And what was your training like? And I'm pretty sure they're asking those similar questions.
I think what changed was because I took it serious. The reason why I took it serious because I had better guidance. I think the better guidance is that I learned throughout the years. Like, when I got in my car accident, I never trained track year round. I never knew that was such a thing. I would just show up and run. And as I got older, I realized once I got into the coaching, I realized that there's a very special, talented kid that can get away with not training during the fall. And I realized that I had to incorporate training in the fall. I had to work on my technique. I had to work on actually learning how to run the 100, 200, and 400. So those are the things that actually changed and was really very beneficial for me. And the reason why I felt like it was so successful because I've never done it before. And I found a philosophy for my body and for my training method that actually worked for me. And so those are things that I think was very, very successful on my part. And I just stayed very consistent and and I stayed confident in myself. And I knew at that point I didn't have nothing to lose. I was going out, trying something and see, and actually turned out to be better than what I thought it was going to be.
1, 2, 3, let's go! Dig, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, come on now.
Every rep counts. Train stronger, recover faster with Compex Muscle Stim.
Obviously, you've been coaching. Let's talk about your coaching history and how you got involved with coaching and where you're at now.
So I got involved in coaching. It was pretty interesting. I started off with football because that was somewhat my main sport. And my friend actually needed to lose weight. And he came to me and he asked me about just going out to the track, going out to Santa Ana College to time him. And so I would go out 3 days out of the week. I would just time him. So he weighed, I would say 300 pounds, and he dropped down to 170 pounds.
Wow.
And so he was like, man, you probably should go coach track. And I was like, first of all, I was like, where am I going to get the ideas from? I never took track serious. I always look at a track coach like, man, that is very difficult. How do they plan? Where do they do this? Where do they do that? So I would say the fall of 2015, I was at the track training, and Santa Ana College coach came and asked me, well, I want to be a coach. And I said, yeah, one day I will. That's kind of what I want to do now. And then she's like, oh, come out and coach, I'll give you opportunity. So I was like, man, I've never coached before, I get a chance to coach at the college level. And so I would say ever since then, it's been like a blessing. I sat down and the workouts, everything just came to me. I can get a Michael Johnson type workouts. I can get all these top workouts, but if it doesn't work with my athletes, then it just doesn't work. And so I ended up finding a formula that actually was very successful. And like I said, I was very thankful for that because I just woke up and I just started planning and writing workouts down. And like I said, ever since 2015, I thought it's been very successful from that point on. So from that point on, I thought it was best that I get around a program that I can actually see if I can actually coach. And so that's when I decided to go the high school route. Not only that, I started to see the development of my side as a coach. And at that time, only had my AA degree. So I thought that it was best to take a step back, build myself up, and then come back out in a better way than what I started off at.
What's been one of the biggest challenges you've had with dealing with the high school level athletes?
I would say the challenges be more of the confidence level. Some athletes feel like they don't have that confidence in them. And so I think the challenge is at times you have to instill that in them. Sometimes that a lot of coaches want to feel like the kid's not in shape, the kid's not ready to go. But the kid could be in shape, the kid be mentally just not there. And so sometimes those are the things that I run into, just the mental side of the sport.
And what has been probably something that you thought might be challenging, but is now pretty easy to deal with or to encounter?
I would say that's a good question. But I would say just more of just planning the workouts, planning the track meets, getting the kids ready. I thought that was a little, starting off, I made some mistakes, which, that's something that I don't have a problem with admitting. But I think that now I've gone through a lot of just repetition, a lot of planning. I think that's been a whole lot better for me.
What has been some things that you learned on your own as a coach transitioning that you think that we need to incorporate into new coaches, or a type of program that we need to implement for coaches coming into the high school level or coming into coaching in general?
I think they should just learn, be an open book. You'll never know the correct answer. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But I would say you always want to learn and keep an open dialogue on everything. I always want to watch what people do. You never want to sit back and be very judgmental about everything, because everything is different with the style of coaching. And I would say more so of that with just any coach in general, especially with high school coming in. You just need to sit back and learn and just watch and just take everything down, just learn, I always want to keep learning. I always want to keep growing. And you never want to, I would say, just that's kind of how I see it.
Yeah. Now, would you ever see yourself going down to youth and coaching?
Actually, I started youth this year,
Okay.
which is I started off with 2, and now I'm with 20. And so I've been coaching with youth girls. I always wanted to start coaching youth eventually, but I've been very, very blessed to have a group of young talented girls come my way. And so I've been dealing with that at the moment. And it's been pretty fun, pretty interesting to see the kids go out and compete, get better. And not only that, I can share with them my knowledge, my wisdom, my positives, my negatives, my mistakes of what someone never shared with me when I was their age. And so that's why I really like working with the youth at the moment.
So out of the 3 levels, college, high school, and youth, which one do you think serves the biggest purpose? Then which one do you think is the most enjoyable for you to coach?
I would say youth serves the biggest, because you want to grab them at that age. You want to groom them up. Definitely you want to mentor them. Like I was saying earlier, if I would have had someone that, like yourself, I think you're a very good coach. You've been mentoring kids. Not only do you mentor them, you get them to where, you probably never thought you would get the kids to. And so when I see yourself as, that's how that's how I preach to my kids, like, this is where I want you guys to be. You don't want to be a track athlete. I still want you to be something successful in your life.
What do you think track and field as of right now is missing?
I think more of just the television, more the publicity for track and field. I think it's definitely missing that. As you can see, you can go in the sports section, they have very minimal about track and field, but you go in other section, it's very deep on other sports. And so I wish that track and field will be more just televised, more published about how successful coaches are out there, how the athletes are, how youth athletes are upcoming. I just wish it was more of just that within the sport.
What advice would you give an athlete who is doing multiple sports? How would you tell them how to navigate their career?
Kids that does multiple sports, I really think is very good. Just for the simple fact, you never want to really be tied to one unless you're very dominant in that one sport. Just for example, I have seen a lot of talented football players, and I wish that they would be well-rounded instead of tying themselves into one particular sport. Just for the simple fact is that what happens if they don't get a scholarship in football? And that's what they've been, that's their ultimate goal. What happens if they don't get it? And then they go out and run track for one season and they drop a 10-7. And so now, you're thinking like, man, if you would have came out since freshman year all the way down, look how much more grooming you could have been up to this point. So you could have had another option. Maybe you could have got a scholarship. Maybe you could have went to go walk on the football team. You still could have been pursuing your dreams. But now they're tied to one sport. They don't get a scholarship, and then they don't want to do track because they don't understand the gratifications of it. Now they feel like they don't fail. And that's why I think that being a multi-sport athlete, I think it's very good for the athletes to do.
How would you guide a new coach who's interested in getting into coaching? What should they be doing first prior to getting into coaching, or and what level should they start at?
I would say go at first you want to start off where you can start off at. Start off at start off high school. You can start off at being an intern. I would say definitely go that route because, like I said, you can see what other coaches do. You can see what actually works. You can go to clinics. You can just be the student of the sport. There's always something out there you can learn. Just get connected with the right people, ask the right questions. I know there's a lot of coaches that buy programs, but make sure you buy the correct program. Don't have like 1,000 programs and you're never going to use them. And, and you can have took that money and went to go use something else for something else and actually be beneficial toward you. And so I think that not only that, you can also research. Those are the things that I would tell an upcoming coach that wants to get into the track and field.
I think this is very insightful for new coaches who are already established to continue to learn. I think one thing I picked up from you was just continuing to be humble and just understand that there is no best coach. We're all coaching to be the best for the athletes. So,
right. Sometimes get competitive. Of course I want my athletes to win because my athletes want to be but I never consider myself as, like you said, the best coach. It's all about humble because I just know there's people out there can teach it better than me, get athletes better, so I never want to put myself on that pedestal like that. Whatever everyone else want to talk and put me up there, then that's fine with me. I have no control over that, but I always want to have my kids ready to compete and ready to go. That's what I want to be well known for too.
Well, that sounds good. I think you're doing a wonderful job. You can tell by the attitude of the athletes, and you can tell when you have a great program by every athlete has that same type of demeanor, mentality, and just grit, I guess, so to speak. But I can see that from all your athletes. So you're doing a really good job.
Thank you again. Yeah, thank you. Same with you, man. I just remember, back when you started coaching almost 10 years ago when I saw you. And, like I said, you're one of the best coaches out there, especially when it comes to jumps. You've been proven year in, year out. So definitely if I could ever speak up for you on your behalf away from you, I definitely would do that. And, like I said, thank you again for, asking me and taking up your time to interview me.
Well, I appreciate it. And let's keep this going. Let's keep inspiring coaches and athletes and mentoring athletes to see whatever they could do next. So
Yeah.
all right, well, thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon.
All right, cool, man. Thanks.
Thanks for subscribing and watching Track Talk with myself, Keinan Briggs. Please make sure to visit KeinanBriggs.com and check out my new courses such as Universal Athlete, How to Teach a Triple Jump, and my virtual services.